Jump the gun to supersize your business. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and our idiom today is, of course, jump the gun. Now, I probably would have a gun as a prop in this video. However, one of my Facebook friends and a very amazing lady actually had a gun in one of her videos as a prop, and she got banned from Facebook and had to fight to get her Facebook account back. So, lesson learned, because we're always modeling and learning lessons from other people, right? Of things to do and things not to do. So guess what? You will never see me brandishing a gun or a pistol in any way, shape, or form on any social media or on any platform. Now, be forewarned. I do have guns. I know how to use them. Even visually impaired, I can shoot. I was up at the cabin shooting with my niece the other day. We were having a fun time. Just practice shooting. Now, jump the gun is a relatively new idiom, a relatively new expression. Came from the 1900s expression. It's only been around since about the 1900s, and it applied, of course, to racing, and it was originally beat the pistol. And that meant if somebody had a false start in a race, or if the pistol was fired and somebody jumped and started the race before they were supposed to because they were before the pistol, then it was a false start. I remember from the one thing I remember from my one season of track in high school, which was horrible, that you don't want to have a false start. You can't start until you actually hear the gun fire, or the sounding thing. I don't think they actually used a gun or a pistol. They might have had a special pistol. I don't remember. That was a long, long time ago. So jumping the gun, getting in too fast, starting too fast, doing something prematurely or impulsively, or to act hastily, act without thinking. That kind of jumping the gun isn't what we want to do in our businesses, but there's a huge advantage to acting fast and jumping the gun in our businesses. Speed counts when you have competitors. Speed counts in competition. And as much as I like to say, when you're being yourself, there's no competition, there's still people that are competing with you in business in different areas and aspects, depending on how you define competition. So, with respect to competition, the first person to market often wins. They often become the market leader. Those organizations that can act quickly and respond and problem solve, fast and change on a dime are those that win in business, depending on what your business is, depending on how competitive, depending on what your goals and objectives are and what you're trying to achieve. Speed can be very important. And so sometimes you want to go to market before everything's perfect, before all the questions are answered, before you know everything. One of the biggest things I've learned in online business is to create your products and services with your ideal customers, with your perfect customers, and then launch them and scale them in a big way. Never did that. I kind of did it in the offline world with the Italian food business. I would make a test flavor of ravioli, for example. I would test it out in a couple of stores and see how it responded to people, and then I would decide if I was going to scale that product or not and make it as an ongoing product offering. But for the most part, that was hard to do in the offline world. It was hard to do, especially in manufacturing, because there's so many things that have to go into place before you can even test a product, especially a food type product that's so regulated. But in the online world, I learned by trial and error and really making some huge mistakes that creating your products and services with people to make sure that you're solving their problems, answering their questions, is a lot more powerful and a speedier way to succeed than if you just create them in a vacuum, which, did that first. Created a couple of products in a vacuum. They totally flopped, and I'm like, okay, that's because I didn't have my ideal client in mind. I didn't create it with them. So now every product and service that I create, everything I do, I actually create with the people that I'm serving. And that has worked out really, really well. But that means jumping the gun and just starting to do something before you have all the answers. There's a saying that when you take the first step, the staircase will appear. And it's so true. It's not until we take action toward what we want that we can see more of the steps along the way. None of us, no one is a massive visionary that can look at something and say, I know everything that needs to happen to have this actually become a reality. So say you think of the idea of a plastic bear. Well, great, you might have a vision of that in your mind, but nobody knows all of the steps that have to happen to make this become a real toy, to make this a reality, until you start doing it, until you actually start doing it. And then you'll find out, okay, the step that I took first, that probably should have been about the 10th step. And that's how you learn, and that's how you grow, and that's how you figure things out along the way. And that requires that we jump the gun, that we take those leaps of faith, to move forward toward what we want and are excited about and what we're trying to create in the world, even before we have all the answers. People jump the gun, we jump the gun all the time in different areas and aspects of our life. If you think about it, who among us hasn't said something impulsively or said something that we wish we could have taken back because it popped out of our mouth before we even really thought about it? Who among us hasn't got a friend or perhaps ourselves, that hasn't jumped into a romantic type relationship or a relationship too soon and too quickly, only to have it crumble and fall apart because we didn't really know the person we were getting involved with? How many of us haven't behaved somehow impulsively, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't? Same is true with our businesses. Sometimes we jump in with both feet and we realize that we're going down the wrong path. It's okay, it's not the end, it's not over. We just backtrack and we go back to what did work, and then we just move on from there. So jump the gun. Love this idiom, love this expression. Would love to know your experience with this idiom or expression. Boy, I could tell some stories, but it's not about my stories. It's about how it impacts you and how you can use it to build and grow and supersize your business. That's it. Any questions, any comments, share below. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow with another interesting idiom. What does it mean? Where does it come from? And how might you use it to build and grow and create the business that you want right now? Take care. Bye.